have the ability to make the choices of an adult. They're able to marry, they're able to kill by joining the army, they're able to do and choose whatever they wish to do and choose. So the complicity of Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, that's just exploitation of a sick mind. That's how I feel about it.
Definitely.
Graham.
Yeah.
You've been sitting there quietly listening. What's your view?
I really add in the conversation. I just think everybody's disgusted by it. It's always been with us. It's never going to go away. It's just trying to, catch these people. But yeah, I mean, it seems to be getting. I think the view that I get is it seems to be that the elites in this country seem to accept that more than we do. The fact that, that was happening in Parliament, and a lot of people knew about it. It was happening at the BBC. A lot of people knew about it. Whereas if it was happening in your street or my street, there would be riots. I think that's the problem I've got. At the top end of society, they seem to think that, I may be speaking out of turn there, but it would appear that they think it's acceptable. Or they're happy to turn a blind eye to it where we're not. But that's all I can say about it. I mean, disgusted about it, but you're never going to stop it.
It's the basis line of corruption. It's the basis line of corruption. And the politicians, if the companies and the platforms are not willing to do something about it, then our politicians should automatically kick in.
Exactly.
And say,
no,
but they should, and that's it's then our duty to enforce our politicians to act.
I think that's a good point that Graham just said, though. What you've got to remember is, the thing is, people might not like hearing it, but people need to accept it. It's part and parcel with these people. It's a culture, it's a ritual, it's a passage of rite, and it's a very sick way to say. But you hear about these things that David Cameron's been doing with dead animals. You hear about these things that George Bush in that day in coffins with their skull and bones nonsense. They're all sick in the bloody heat, and they serve sick purposes. And if that was in our common areas, your schemes or just normal estates, that wouldn't be tolerated because it's simply not fucking normal.
Aye, definitely.
Yeah.
But in our street, I'm going to contradict you a wee bit, Graham. In our streets, we wouldn't know about it.
Well, true.
Our politicians have all the facts and statistics in front of them.
Aye.
They know, and they can do something about it. But they're unwilling. They're unwilling. So, folks, if you're listening, send us your views on this so that we can discuss this openly. We're going to move back to the actual substance of the show. We thought we should highlight that. We're all disgusted.
Yeah.
We're all in some way affected by paedophilia in our lives. If we haven't, then you're a very fortunate person. That's as much as I'm going to say on that. We have a wonderful, wonderful cavalcade happening, charade, farce happening in Westminster, folks. We have a government that is unable, unfit to govern. We have a government in Holyrood who is more than capable, that seem intent, and this is my view, and I'm going to open this up to you guys, seem intent on protecting this government in Westminster from themselves, while fighting for independence. And I do not question that they are fighting. What I question is why they insist on protecting an English Parliament from itself. And tonight, in the indicative votes, the only sensible suggestion with the scenario that is taking place in Westminster is to revoke Article 50. But in doing so, and by supporting that and putting that motion forward themselves, they put themselves in jeopardy of cancelling out the cause of it. That's T. Shinger, he'd call it. I'm going to let you come in first. Cancelling out. If section Article 50 is revoked, the SNP, and this is my view, the SNP have hung their coat on being pulled out. So if we revoke it, we won't be pulled out. Where do we go from there? Colin.
Right. First of all, the reasons behind the SNP supporting both a people's vote and revoking Article 50, they've been made by several politicians, and I think it's a fair point. Right at the minute, like it or not, and I know that none of us in this panel like it, we are part of the union. We don't know how long we will remain part of that union, and so it is in our interests to work as part of that union and try and get the best result for that union, and also with a view to Scotland being an independent country. If you've got your best mate is self-harming, you're going to try and take the knife out of his hand. Simple as that. You're going to try and say, listen mate, what you're doing is a wee bit unthought out, but you don't like to think about it again. Secondly, the problem, which I think is certainly in many folks' minds the larger problem at the minute, is what happens if Article 50 does actually get revoked. Currently, I don't think there is a majority in Westminster to revoke Article 50, but the SNP have put the amendments forward. They will, I'm sure, be at the Westminster Hall debate on Monday for the petition that's been going out with nearly 6 million signatures as we speak, just within a few days. And revoking Article 50 is, if you like, the sticking plaster. It gets us out of the worst of it for the minute. It doesn't in any way change the mandate that the Scottish Parliament already has, because in the SNP manifesto, for example, for the last Holyrood elections, the wording was a material change such as being drawn out of the EU against our will. The Brexit scenario was an example which I think nobody can argue about, although the Tories might try, and the Lib Dems might try, branch office Labour might try, but that is definitely a triple launch mandate. But there's still been a material change in circumstances since 2014. You just have to see the vow to Scotland that powers not being devolved, that were promised to be devolved, Henry VIII laws that are coming in if the UK does decide to leave the European Union, the Scottish Government being ignored in the Council of Ministers, the list goes on. So I think there's a material change in circumstances between 2014, where we were told to lead the Union as a union of equals, and the way the Scottish people, because at the end of the day, the MPs sitting down there at Westminster are representatives of the Scottish people, voted by the Scottish people, and as we know, claim of right, declaration of Arbroath, the people of Scotland are sovereign, so they're the Scottish people. Every time the Tories shout to Ian Blackford to shut up, they say it to everybody in Scotland. But we see the way they've been treated, and therefore we have a material change in circumstances which would constitute a mandate just as much whether the UK stayed within the EU or not.
Totally agree with you, Colin. I totally agree with you. and never once actually carried out or enacted the claim of right, the means. We've shown the examples, and it's been exacerbated time after time after time after time. We were told in November, since November, an announcement is imminent. We were told since before she called the referendum, the general election, Theresa May, we were told that we were going to have an announcement. So we're now 2 years down the line. Or I'd say 2 years. 2 years? But we're 2 years down the line.
The timetable has been a timetable not of the Scottish Government's making. We had the request for Article 30, 2017, was it March, I think? And then we got told now is not the time. A couple of days later, general election. There, Nicola Sturgeon did quite clearly say, okay, she'll wait and see how the whole Brexit process pans out, and then make a decision and then make an announcement. Now, the announcement was made as being imminent in November, because if you remember, we were going to have the meaning of a vote and the deal in November, until the Tories kicked the can down the road. It's now, it must be about 10:30. I don't have a watch, but I mean, say it must be 10:30. Under normal circumstances, in 25 and a half hours, we would be being pulled out of the EU. So, this is the can being kicked further down the line. The EU has been generous enough to come back and say, all right, you need a bit more time. We're going to let you have that time. But we still don't know what's going to happen within the next 2 weeks. We don't know if the extension is going to be till the middle of April, to the middle of May, or a longer extension. People's vote revoke Article 50. But all that is down to the incompetence of the Tory government and the infight within the Tory party. So I don't think we can blame the Scottish government, the SNP, or Nicola Sturgeon for holding back at the minute. She said many a time she wants to wait to see what the initial position is going to be. She wants to say what situation are we going to be in and what are we looking for an alternative from. I think that's legitimate. Equally, I know that many folk within the indie movement are getting very impatient because, as we've mentioned on this show many a time, we're running out of time. I said the same in Berlin, if you remember. We are running out of time because the longer we stay in this toxic union, the more folk in Scotland are going to suffer as a consequence of the union. The more kids are going to die. The more folk are going to commit suicide. So we are running out of time. So what I personally hope is that whatever happens in the next fortnight, with the potential deal, no deal, bit more time, whatever, I think by that stage, by the time we go back to, or Theresa May goes back to the European Parliament in mid-April and says, please sir, I want some more, or let's go, we're going on the 23rd of May, or whatever, that is the time for the Scottish Government to use the mandate. I can give them 2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks isn't going to kill us. But then that has got to be the time.
But my issue is it's 2 weeks, and 2 weeks, and 2 weeks. But I'm going to bring Callum in here to get his view. Because we seem to be hogging the airwaves here.
As usual.
Callum, the issue being that we have, since 2014, had many opportunities to start the campaign. I don't say call the referendum, but start the campaign to the referendum and set the date for the referendum. Are we being hoodwinked and outplayed at every opportunity?
I think the people of the campaign have been the campaign, will continue to be the campaign. The people, as I've said many a time, with the monies per household being ever so short, they continue to make their way up and down the country, they continue to travel to Berlin, and going to continue to travel to the Netherlands. All to make it obviously clear still that we want independence. Now, the thing that concerns me, and I'm not saying anything bad about the people who support the SNP, but looking at it from a different perspective, it seems to be the SNP stance that the EU has took precedence over Scottish independence as a whole. And for me, that simply cannot go unpunished or even uncriticised. As Colin says, there's suicides happening in this country. There's people dying in this country. Babies being born in the hospitals up and down the country right now. And parents are sitting, quite frankly, shiting themselves because they're going to have to go to baby banks to try and get a helping hand. If that's no more than enough reason, if that's no a change of circumstances, if that's no the fire to ignite and just go, let's do this and call our Independence Day and start putting the people of Scotland first, then I don't know if it ever will be, Pat. Now, we're sitting here and we've got all this fiasco going on with Europe. I'm not a fan of Europe, and I'll never shy away from it. If the people of Scotland overwhelmingly vote to stay in the EU, then so be it. It's my country's people that have decided to take that course of action. But what this people has made absolutely clear in every sense of the manner is that we want our independence now. Not 2 weeks, not 4 weeks, not 6 weeks, not 12 weeks. So the ball is firmly in Nicola Sturgeon's court, not the people, and she needs to stop putting it onto the people. Because as we've seen Theresa May blaming other politicians, we can't have one rule for one person and another rule for somebody else.
It's a poor athlete that blames his opposition for the situation that he's in. I totally agree with you that the momentum since 2014 has been solely maintained by us, the grassroots. It's been partially backed up by the acceptance to be included by some, and I won't say all, by some of the SNP, the political wing of the independence movement. And we now hear, going by the suffering that you've just described, Callum, that in the last 18 months, correct me if I'm wrong, it could be UK, I think it's Scotland only, that we've had 500,000 food bank parcels in the last 18 months. That in itself speaks volumes that we are allowing politicians to distract us with ineptitude.
But Pat, I mean, I don't know the name of the company. Is it Trussell's or Russell's?
Trussell
Trust.
You've got these cowboys taking ownership of food banks, people making food donations for the people. So why is it going to government or corporation hands? Now, one thing that I'm absolutely sickened with me, and I have to say this, and it's no a terrible thing to say. I think it's a reasonable thing to say. What the hell is Nicola Sturgeon playing at? She's away down in London, speaking, trying to save, as you said, the English Parliament, but she can't give her time to march for the people that voted her into office. She can't give her time to show up and speak to the people that continuously vote a party and put her in a position of representation. So the leader, what we've got in Scotland, is a leader of the independence movement. A lot of people have put a lot of faith and trust into her. And the first chance she gets to speak in London, she takes it. It doesn't make any sense. Again, her priorities should be to the people of Scotland. Her loyalties should be to the people of Scotland. And she really ought to get her finger out, stop putting the EU situation over Scottish independence, because once we get independence, the whole EU thing will need to be addressed anyway. So let's focus on what the main objective is in Scotland, and that's independence.
Can I just come in there?
Go on.
I think I understand the frustration a lot of people had that Nicola Sturgeon was in London on Saturday, not in Freedom Square on Sunday. But I think, to be fair, we have a situation at the minute which is urgent and burning. We have two situations that are urgent and burning, and we agree Scottish independence is too, but in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, the EU scenario has to be decided. We have to get back to Brussels with another option, and therefore that is the first thing on the agenda right now, but it doesn't mean that she's just forgotten about independence. What I do think would be very important is if she were maybe to turn up at All Unknown Ballot in Glasgow at the start of May. It's a constituency after all.
Mm-hmm.
Two things I want to say, two quick things I want to say. Right, what happens, right, in Parliament if they get two of the things that look more plausible? The Norway Plus option of Corbyn's plan, which would suit SNP politicians to an absolute T, which means that after the Brexit fiasco is going to be over, the Scottish politicians have got what they've asked for essentially from the English Parliament after Brexit. They've got the securities and assurances. So how long does that take before we get independence? And the second thing being, if this doesn't go ahead, how long does she leave it? Because right now, we talk about looking down there and playing the wrong game. We know exactly what was going to be there from the get-go anyway. So why is it taking? We need to wait and see what's done with the Brexit fiasco, because as it stands, and it's simple, the technicality, it was a UK vote. So do we go against the democratic wishes of the UK as a whole? Or can we just simply say, let's cut the ties and put Scottish issues first, because clearly we're never going to get one anyway?
Yeah, Westminster will, when it requires, it will plead to the Scottish people, as you saw in the 2014 referendum. Please don't leave. It would break my heart. David Cameron, we had 100 MPs march through Glasgow as our masters.
MPs reject all 8 different Brexit options. There you go. Yes, 264. No, 272. It's just come on the telly there.
It doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
Yeah. So this is where, Graham, this is where it becomes important. If they do not accept either of these 8 issues, then they're going to have to get rid of one thing, and that's May's deal. So, although we're pessimistically talking here tonight, this could be defining. This could be and it's no down to Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP in any way whatsoever. It's down to the incompetence of the whole of the British government and those sitting in that chamber, that they cannot, at the last minute, even contemplate coming together. That in itself is a reason to be removing ourselves from this union. Because I'll give the SNP their due. Right from the get-go, right from day one, and this is what they've been discussing tonight, is the compromise settlement. The compromise that would have been acceptable to Westminster had it been addressed in the right manner. Had they, when they decided to release Article 50 to the EU, had they brought all the parties together in a unified situation, they may have got consensus. They may have got consensus. And they may have had enough clout to outdo the ERG, because the ERG would always set themselves up. But she failed. She totally concentrated on the Conservative Party above her nation, her union of nations, her absolute contempt for that union of nations. This was always about the Conservative Party and maintaining power. Graham, I'm going to let you come in. You've been sitting there too long, sir.
Just back to the point Callum made, actually, Nicola Sturgeon was in London on Saturday, and I agree with Colin. It is important that she was down there speaking, but there was nothing to stop her telling our members to get on the street on Sunday and support that and show that there is an appetite for independence. And there would have been 200,000 people on George Square on Sunday, and that would have made a statement. And she didn't have to be there. She just had to tell her supporters to get out there and support it.
Absolutely. But I'll say that within the Yes movement, there are many, many, many SNP members.
Yeah.
Within the grassroots. And
Yeah,
I'll be totally honest with you, Graham. The turnout on Sunday amazed me.
Yeah, it was very good.
Because I thought there would be a bit of lethargy coming into the Yes movement, because there is no decisions being taken. There's no push, and we have been left to continue this momentum on our own. And that's where I'll point the finger at the SNP as the free political wing of the independence movement.
Yeah.
Now is the time for leadership. It's long overdue. It's long overdue. And it's time the SNP came down out of their high orders.
Yeah.
And started joining in. And I'll give Sandra White, the Glasgow MSP, give her her due. She was there. And had she been asked to speak, or if there was time available, she would have. Yeah. She's done it previously. She's one of the first that has supported the Yes movement directly by appearing and speaking. So there are plenty within the SNP who support and continue to support the Yes movement.
There should be an official statement from them to get out there and support these events.
That is all it would take. As we did last year with the marches and rallies, as we brought as many groups together as would come and speak together. We're a fickle nation, but we got a representation of 60 groups together last year, and says, let's make this the year that the marches and the rallies actually have an effect. And we done it.
Definitely.
We succeeded. We had Dundee, Glasgow, Edinburgh, culminating in Edinburgh with over nearly 200,000 individuals coming out in support of independence. And showing that physically.
As well as the 500 mile marchers and the people that supported them.
And today the 500 mile marchers, Carol J. Claridge and Ren Chapman, have achieved reaching London tonight.
Well, they're there, are they?
Right. Awesome.
They're going to meet up at Parliament Square. I had hoped to be there, but I had a union meeting today, so I couldn't manage to get down. But I'll see them when I get back. Raymond, you've been sitting, by the way, in my screen. Raymond's down at my left hand corner, so that's why I'm pointing there.
Well,
you've been sitting quietly.
let us first.
On Twitter.
On Facebook, you mean? When I'm being transparent on. Before I get to that, we forgot to mention that we're also simulcasted live on Independence Live. So if you could, in a minute, say hi to the people that are watching there. I want to say hi to William Forbes, one of our regulars, Gordon Stead, Billy Young, Cliff Blythe. Yeah, they're not really questions. Billy Young says here, I say a fully independent Scotland, out the EU and out of Britain. Like a couple of us do think that way, but independence first, and then we can decide on the EU if you want to reapply or not. If Scotland is taken out, of course, and that seems to happen. Getting back to the question.
Can I just quickly say, it's the same argument as we had in the first referendum.
Yeah.
If Scotland becomes independent, it will be out of Europe. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, if Scotland is dragged out of Europe, then that is the reason for the second independence referendum. Our membership of Europe is a totally separate issue.
Exactly.
It is a sideshow and a distraction.
Exactly.
We need our politicians to concentrate solely on the goal. That's it.
Definitely.
We need to get to the goal. If we are sidetracked with this people's vote, it removes us from concentrating on our goal. And I've said this for 2 years now. We need to come together as one and concentrate and deliver the what I would say is the vast majority view on Scotland today. Independence must come. And then you can ask an independent Scottish people what their views are on the currency, on the NHS, on pensions, on Europe.
Exactly.
There are many things, many things, just in my view, that we have to discuss after independence. Never before, because before independence, we have no control over the matter. Westminster retains those controls. So let's ask our leadership to start directing the movement to deliver independence.
Exactly.
That was one of the major problems that we had in 2014. The Scottish Government at the time produced the White Paper, a huge document, massive document. Was it 380 odd pages? I mean, I don't know how many folk actually read from cover to cover. Probably not very many. But by setting out this vision, which was good intentioned, but it meant we were open to attack for folks saying, oh, if you do that, somebody would say, well, I don't like that bit of it. Or somebody else would say, I don't like that bit of it. Somebody else would say, I don't like that bit of it. As an independent country, the point is, we get to decide.
Let me come in. That was the SNP's view of a future Scotland, and that'll bring us into the next section of the discussion.
Well, if I can just say one more thing, we're talking about Nicola Sturgeon attending the marches and the rallies. Let me just say this and offer an open invitation to both the event in The Hague and in Glasgow, all under one banner. Nicola, if you for whatever reason, one of your aides or yourself could get to see this show, we offer you an invitation to come to the rally, to even speak if you want to, but be there and talk to the people. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
Colin, what were we discussing?
We were talking about the white paper, and you said it was an SNP vision. And again,
let me come into that. Aye. Thanks for that. It was the SNP's vision of how we should go forward. It was not the Yes Movement's vision. So you would always have dispute within the movement. And again, that is the same as discussing currency, discussing the NHS, discussing pensions. Sure, they could have had their view in the white paper, but they could have made it publicly known that that was the SNP's view, not Scotland's view, and that once independence was gained, all of these issues were open for discussion and would be discussed in an independent manner within an independent Scotland. And they're doing the same again. In my view, they're doing the same again with the Growth Commission report. That is the Scottish Government. I wouldn't say it's the Greens, I would say it's the SNP view of how we should move forward in the future. Again, I call that an absolute distraction from the goal of independence. It's giving ammunition to the enemy.
It's not even the SNP view, the Growth Commission report. The Growth Commission was commissioned by the SNP. But I mean, we've seen the SNP.
Who was on the committee?
I agree. It was commissioned by the SNP, and there was SNP members. We've had Keith Brown, for example, coming out and saying, well, he would maybe see it slightly differently. But again, I think this is going back to what I was saying about the white paper, the same about the Growth Commission. Going back to what you said, this is a vision of how an independent Scotland could look like. And I think the emphasis has to be maybe a wee bit away from the detail of individual visions to the wider goal that when we are independent, it is the people of Scotland that decide. Because anytime you get these individual views, that's what the opponents are going to jump up upon. We saw it with Alistair Darling with the currency back in 2014. We've seen it with the Growth Commission, with the idea of 10 years of austerity. I think we spoke about the Growth Commission on this programme many a time. So I won't go into the further details there that is excluding oil, for example. But these things, they're pounced upon by our opponents. Because our opponents, even though they, in many cases, are themselves Scots, think that we're too weak, too poor, too stupid. That is the problem that we have. And we shouldn't leave ourselves open to that form of attack. We should be highlighting the fact that the independent Scotland, it'll be the people that decide by a democratic process.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Colin, you said there about people saying we're too wee, too poor, too stupid, and I agree with you, that mindset's got to go. But on the wee book that they published in 2014, they were coming out and saying they wanted to keep the pound, they wanted to keep the Queen. Now, when they're talking about independence, real independence, their parliament, their monarchy, and their crappy how they can keep, you can have their own sterling. I think that's too stupid. I think some of the things we've dragged the ball, well, no, the people who's been publishing this, it's been quite amateur at best. And I think maybe what they should do is come out and speak with the people and go, right, okay, what's your guys' thoughts on this? How would you go about doing this? Have you got any propositions or proposals for this? And then include that into that so that when we've got the material to read, there's quite a divergent and there's a variety of different proposals there.
Callum, can I caveat exactly what you're saying? They should never publish it until they've spoken to the people.
Even better, Pat. Even better. Because at the end of the day, we've seen manic madness for the EU, we've seen manic madness for London, so if we're going to do a fresh start, let's hit the ground running and making it a people's parliament and a people's driven country.
Definitely, Calvin. Okay,
absolutely.
So we're going to turn this now into an absolute positive end to the show. Graham, you've been sitting longest, I think.
Yeah, I can't go first.
Oh, you can so. What we want here is your vision of 1 year on from independence. What would you like to see? Start after the basics.
I think we'll be pleasantly surprised at how wealthy we are 1 year after independence. I think we make far more money than we even imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll be very, very wealthy very, very quickly. That's my vision. I think everybody will be surprised.
Okay, but what would you like to see happen from a grassroots level?
One quick one. Sorry to interrupt. Callum, can you check the group chat? Kevin just left a message, but I can bring it up. Go ahead, Pat.
Okay, so as you expressed that you're not the politically minded person of the panel, but I would like to know, what would you like to see first improved?
First improved? Well, I think immediately we'll have better redistribution of wealth, which I would like to see improved. I think in Scotland that's instantly going to happen anyway, because we don't have so many of the super wealthy people up here. At that time, I think we're going to be forming new parties and looking for elections. I just think we're going to have a socialist country moving forward. We're going to have better pensions. We're going to have more money invested in the country.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take time, but I think we're very... First thing I think I would like to see addressed is pensions.
Excellent, because that just brought to me a post I saw today. Now, Colin, correct me if I'm wrong. Germany has an average pension of 26k.
I don't know the exact figures for Germany. What I do know is that there are figures that are bandied about on social media a lot of the time. They are the maximum pension. The way the German pension system works is like a insurance system. You pay in, and if you work for 20 years, you're going to get less pension than if you pay in for 40 years.
Yes, right.
You do get pensioners that are literally living off 800 or 900 or 700 euros pension a month because they haven't made the payments. Now that could be for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It can, for example, be because they've been self-employed and been contributing to private pensions on top, so they're okay. Or it can be that they just weren't well paid enough, and so the payments they've been making, you get a certain, like pay as you earn, a certain amount taken off your wages, and that goes into the pension fund, if you like.
But as a fact, the UK has the lowest pension in the whole of the EU.
Yeah.
As a fact. And I think that sum equates to 7,000. So if we have the best pension at 26,000, and we have the worst pension, UK, at 7,000, there is only one thing, and this is for you, Graham, there is only one thing that can improve immediately, and that is pensions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have the double security that the UK Treasury have guaranteed that they will continue to pay the pension, the minuscule pension that we have, if we should become independent, because those who are entitled to it have contributed to it.
Yeah.
So there's a legal obligation to make that payment. So, on the one thing that you are looking for, Graham, it can almost be guaranteed almost, because it then comes down to government decisions, it can almost be guaranteed that pensioners will be better off. And as we know in the independence referendum 1, we had an amount of pensioners who voted on the strength of their pension being protected.
Yeah.
So if we can get that message,
Miserly pension.
the negative of having the worst pension in Europe, and the positive that their pension, the uplift of the Scottish budget. Colin and I disagree on the amount of that uplift. I say it's going to double, and I'll qualify that because of the misrepresentation of Scotland's GDP. Because we now know this week that our natural resources alone equate to 237 billion in 2016, I think that was. So 2017, 2018, 2019, there's an uplift there because there was further increases in manufacturing, there was an uplift in our GDP, there was an uplift in our employment. So on 2016 figures, on natural resources alone, their asset value was 237 billion. Without that, it is reported that we generate 200 billion in GDP. So I'll paint the picture bright, whereas Colin would tell me the facts. Would you agree with that?
No. I mean, I think what we're going to see the first year of independent Scotland, we're going to see the first steps, things like pensions, things like looking after the vulnerable in society, looking after our old folk, looking after the health service. We're going to see the first steps being made, being taken. We won't be able to turn around 300 years of Westminster misrule in 365 days. But we'll be seeing the first steps. And the thing that I think we'll be seeing 1 year into independence, we will have had a majority vote for independence, which will mean that we won't have a mainstream media ramming down our throats how bad we are, how crap we are, that we'll have a national movement where over 50%, hopefully well over 50%, have all decided this is the road we're going to go down. There's a German word, Aufbruch. It's a bit like revival. And there's going to be that much optimism because folk will have got behind this idea of Scotland going its own way, that folk will be working together and they won't be slagging each other off, they won't be denigrating us for being shitey.
Having a view.
They might be denigrating us for being shitey if they watch the football. I don't think that's going to change their independence, but other than that, I think there's going to be an enormous force of optimism going across the country.
Raymond.
Yeah.
And Colin, you're living in Germany at the moment. Raymond, as a resident of the Netherlands, what is the international vision for an independent Scotland?
Well, like I've said before, there's not much people really actively thinking about this whole situation, mainly because of mainstream media here as well. It's not covering anything about it. all I can say is about my views on it. Simply, I truly feel that once all the revenues stay where they should in Scotland, I think once independence has been achieved, I know we're going to see a lot of countries come knocking at Scotland's door, being anxious to make trade deals with Scotland, and Scotland will be one of the richest countries in Europe, and I'm sure of that.
Excellent.
Can I just make one quick point? I don't know if we've mentioned it yet tonight, but Alan Smith made a speech in front of the European Parliament today. Leave a light on. Yeah. It was very well received by the European politicians. It might be his final speech as MEP. And Terry Reitke, the German Green MEP, who is one of the organisers behind that letter that we heard about a couple of years back, calling for Europe to welcome back an independent Scotland when the time was right. She was actually posting, she was in Scotland last week meeting up with her colleagues from the Greens in Scotland, and she was posting things on Twitter today saying, look at this, Scotland is being ignored in the whole Brexit process. Scottish Parliament is voting, Holyrood's voting to revoke Article 50, and they're getting ignored by Westminster. So I agree with Simon, it's not necessarily a mainstream view, but there are folk out there in Europe that are seeing what's going on.
Yeah, and all we can do, mate, is share that. I've shared that speech on my timeline, and that's basically what we can do to get the message across there as well. Outside of mainstream media, just share the crap out, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely no doubt that Europe would like to see Scotland back within its fold. But then again, is it for the sake of the people, or is it for the sake of the resources that Scotland have and can contribute to the European project?
I like this. I think it will be a little bit of both.
Callum, your vision for 1 year after independence, and I would say that would be in September 2020.
I'll start off with abolishment of usury debt. Let's make every single household in Scotland debt free. Boom, night. The very next thing I'd like to see is a real wage.
Just in case folk don't understand, what is usury debt?
Debt that the banks shouldn't, immorally, in fact, put onto people that go and take loans and mortgages, etc., put unfair percentages onto them. A lot of people put themselves into debt that they technically will never be able to pay back. And pensions get swallowed up before they know it because of these fiat banking methods. I would quite like to see that disintegrated. Cheerio. That would free up so many people from debt overnight. I would like to see wages, and I don't mean national minimum wage for 16s or 20, a wage right across the board, £12 an hour. And people that are in school, college or university doing work part-time don't pay any taxes. They're doing degrees, they're going to contribute when they complete their further education. I'd like to see a campaign for new nurses and doctors, to actually people to be inspired to be in the country and help with frontline services. I'd also like to see communities, top to bottom, being proud, building high-rise flats, back front door gardens, better schools, better roads, and development of clubs, and if people want to have allotments to keep the old buddies in the community active where they've got something to do all the time. And sorry Raymond, but the Dutch need to go. Your trains are absolutely a disgrace, mate. Let's get that, the buses and the trains, let's get that resolved into national hands and make sure that our people are going to have
You won't any.
that are reliable.
I totally agree with you, mate. I told you a couple of times before, I'm ashamed to say that it's owned by the Dutch Railway, so I agree with you on that.
But I would like to be able, a year's time, to see real groundwork put down so that Marwayne, Colin's relatives, Graham's relatives, Raymond's friends, your Gramwains, Pat, been able to get the real beneficiaries of hard work and labour, that real people put in place so that future generations will reap all the profits and the rewards.
Excellent, guys. Well, I'm going to just add to that. 1 year after independence, I'm going to be very short here, with a caveat that I might drift a wee bit.
You? No. Come on.
Every one of those wishes that you have expressed can be achieved. Can be achieved 1 year after independence. We only have to look back to the Macron report, who expressed that should Scotland be in control of its oil, never mind anything else, that it would be wealthy beyond belief. I think they actually conservatively put it at the 5th richest country in the world. We now know that there are more oil fields to be exploited. I'll openly say this, exploited, but exploited for the benefit of the nation, not the benefit of party political idea. Because that's what Thatcher done with the absolute wealth that was created by North Sea oil exploration. And as for Callum, your comment on wages, £12 an hour. Had my wages risen over the last 10 years, I would be sitting on a minimum of £15 an hour. So 15, and I'm a low-paid worker. I'm a low-paid worker. So £15 an hour. Had it risen by inflation, we should be looking at £20 an hour. Because the wealth generated by this nation could afford it. And it could afford it 1 year down the line. So the importance is that we deliver independence. We do not sit back in our laurels and think we've done a good job, because we have not reached the goal. The goal is independence, and all benefit comes from that.
Exactly.
So folks, I'm going to press on you to drive your local Yes group, to drive your SNP branch, to drive your SNP hierarchy, to join the Yes movement in full. Not partially, not when they feel like it. I am not going to criticise Nicola Sturgeon for being down in London, because there is a benefit from being down there in the international sense, and we're in an international show here. So there is a benefit from that. What she's done is she's absolutely exploded the myth that we are unable. Whether that be media or whatever, she is the most competent politician in this United Nations.
United Nations
United
and Kingdom. Family of Nations.
But that doesn't exempt her from supporting the Yes movement
Yeah.
that has supported the SNP since 2014. Does that make sense to you guys?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So we call on the SNP hierarchy. Know the grassroots, know the members, know the individual branches, although they could put pressure. We call on that SNP hierarchy to deliver the mandate. Use the mandate. And don't wait to be dictated to. How the
Balls.
Kahunies. How the Kahunies.
I'll say it, balls.
You'll say, well, I'll be a wee bit more discreet. The Kahunies to take control of our situation
Yeah.
and deliver independence to the Scots people so that they can get on and deliver the benefits of independence to the Scottish nation.
Can I just say to Colin and Raymond, because they're our international friends, 12 years after Scottish independence, I guarantee it, it's coming home.
Right, folks.
I think it's passing their chance of getting £20 an hour on his rates plan.
We have went 26 minutes over. But I think it was really good to express ourselves and taste my wine. But that's a different matter. I hope you've enjoyed your evening with the People's International Chat Show, and we look forward to you joining us again next week. And hopefully this Brexit shit is gone. It's gone.
Dream on me.
And the SNP come out and total command of the situation and announce the date to set Scotland free. Thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed your evening.
Yeah. Graham, would you like to send us off?
Bye, everyone.
No, Graham, would you like to send us off? Do one final song.
Have you got time?
Oh.
We've got time, we're on here.
We got whiskey, we got water, raw fish that we can eat. We got beef, natural resources, and abundance at our feet. We are 5 million with so much to go around. The case for independence is built on solid ground. Eloquent politicians tell us we're too weak to be independent and stand on our own feet. They tell us we need them. There's nothing we can do but scratch beneath the surface and see how much they need you. They'll want to buy our whiskey, our beef, cereals, and fish. They'll have to buy our water, so don't listen to their lies. There's more to us than oil. Just you wait and see. When Scotland's independent, she will prosper. Keep it short, huh?
And be free! Thanks very much, guys. Thank you, listeners. I hope you've enjoyed it. Join us next week, same time, same place, 9 o'clock. Good night.
night.
Good night, everyone.